what's up, guys? So let's get started. So yesterday, a couple of you guys came in to watch me do my typical workout that I do Mondays. More recently, I've actually been able to stream my workouts, which is pretty cool. So, all right, today I am going to talk out my ideology behind active recovery for soccer players. Let me adjust this light real quick. Sorry, it's bothering me. There we go. The hard part about active recovery is, especially with these athletes, they have about 5 weeks. So I'm still learning all their names and everything, which is pretty tough. I have about 28 guys. There are some spots on the team that are open. A lot of them are coming from out of state that are either in college or they are on the free market. This is a semi-pro professional or semi-professional soccer team. And that music's probably kind of loud. I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. Had that issue yesterday. Let's see if I can find it. There you go. Hopefully you can still hear me talk. Can't, just let me know. I'm gonna increase my volume just a little bit. There we go. So, if I'm looking up here, that's because that's where my monitor is and camera shot. But yeah, so right now I currently am going into the 3rd day. They've had practice Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Each one of those practices was about an hour to an hour and a half long. Like I said, they're still trying to fill in some spots that are going to be competing in the Lamar Hunt Open Cup, which is pretty cool. It's going to be the first professional game in Columbia, South Carolina, which is coming up soon. That's going to be March 19th is their big game. They have like 3 or 4 games in between that though, maybe even potentially 5. So a lot of my programming these 5 weeks went into just maintenance and recovery. I maybe have one high intensity day, and even that is relative to them being in season, theoretically, even though the games are kind of like preseason and stuff like that. But my goal for tomorrow is about a 45-minute long training session. Not even training session. It's going to be a little bit of a Q&A so I can get to learn the guys' names and their idea and like how they perceive what soccer conditioning is like in recovery and things like that. I kind of specialize in active recovery, or at least I like to think I do. Now, no one's perfect, obviously. A lot of these guys that went into my training, they're going to do stuff on their own, right? No matter what I do, I can't control what they do when I'm not seeing them, when they're not with me, when they're not at practice or anything like that. So they could be hitting the gym, they could be doing long runs. So I took that into account when I made the program. Right now, I'm going to, if you guys want to help me chime in, I'm going to work on some active recovery for them. They've been going pretty hard for the past few days. I did some simple overhead squatting with them today, some light single leg work, and balance, which was nice to get them prepped. It was really cold this morning. I think it was about 30 degrees outside, and in the gym there, it's not heated. So no weight really involved. I think the most I saw someone pick up was like 20 pounds. These are professional soccer players. They're in their 20s, no one over 30, which is nice. But to start off, I usually like to start with the ground up, right? So that being said, we usually I like to start with the feet. Now I'm gonna write this in my iPhone. I'm on my phone. I don't know why I said iPhone. But I'm gonna write it in my phone because I normally type it up on the computer, but obviously I got the stream going and I wanted you guys to kind of listen to my thoughts about it and how I do things. To start off, like I said, I like to look at recovery as a total body aspect. I am going to start from the ground up. So I really work on the feet is the first part, especially because they're soccer players. If you think about it, soccer players, their whole life is based around their lower extremities, really. Like upper extremities, I've broken my wrist, I've broken my thumb playing soccer, and I was still able to play, obviously. So lower extremity down, any injuries down there, they're basically done. So that is where I spend the majority of my time is working on some recovery there. Obviously, I go all the way up the kinetic chain, kind of focusing on some controlled articular rotations. Also working, I don't really like to do passive stretching too much. Mostly because they still need to be fast and twitchy, which is kind of a funny concept. Is like how do have them do recovery, so they stretch, but it's not passive stretch, it's more of active stretching. Got that from FRC, functional range conditioning, where I get like controlled articular rotations and tails and rails, progressive angular isometric loading, and regressive angular isometric loading. Now I know I'm throwing a lot of terms at you, so if you don't know what that means, that's fine. Just ask a question. I kind of like teaching people, so if you hear a question or a word you don't know, let me know, and I'll try and describe it the best I can. My camera's kind of going in and out of focus, but okay. Oh, so to start off, I'm actually gonna take socks off. I'm still wearing thermals underneath these pants because I mean, I was out there in the cold too. Now, thankfully for them, they were moving around. I wasn't moving around as much. But to start off, I'm gonna start with some toe yoga. Let me change this up to mobility, SC heat mobility. SC heat mobility. More ability. Okay, so starting from the toes, so I'm gonna do toes. With toes, I'm going to write piano toes and big toe mobility. Piano toes, big toe mobility. Some of the guys have turf toe, which kind of sucks for this, but I'm trying to work with them on stuff like that. But let's see if I can get closer. Sorry if you can't really see. But with toe yoga, piano toes. So what I do is I work on taking this big toe and I drive it into the ground. Okay, so I'm not picking it up. All my other toes are splayed up right now, but I'm going to drive that big toe into the ground. I'm actually going to externally rotate my foot a little bit because a lot of these guys wear shoes that pinch their feet like this. And if you think about it, that's not conducive to a stable base of support. So I actually like to have them work out without shoes, but driving this big toe out and open hopefully helps with that base of support there. Driving this big toe down, I'm going to pick up all my little toes. I don't know if you can see that. If you can't see that, let me know and I can kind of zoom in a little bit for you. Yeah. There we go. But driving that big toe down, you're going to try to put your pinky toe down all the way to the toes back and back up. So it looks like I'm kind of like rolling my toes up and down like this. So I do that once, come back up twice, 3 times, 4, and 5. It's harder than it looks. Now what I'm going to do, pick the big toe up and then do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Go to the other side. A lot of people don't do things like this. They don't want to take the time and effort into doing things that will really benefit them. Because a lot of people don't think they have muscles down here in their feet. That's how we walk. That's how we move. That's how we balance. Everything starts from the ground up. This is where we generate our power, our balance, our coordination. Everything starts from the ground up. So driving the big toe in, piano toes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, pick the big toe up. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. So now what I'm going to do, as for these guys, I'm not going to be able to have them sitting on anything, which kind of sucks. I'm going to have them in their locker room. Smaller teams are tougher to deal with because obviously we don't have the space and the money that big soccer clubs do. But what we're going to do next is driving these other toes into the ground. And then what you're going to do is you're actually going to try to keeping these toes down. I actually have to use my fingers to keep this down. But you're going to try to pick your big toe up as high as you can and then put it back down, drive it in. That's 1, 2. Try not to pick up any of these other toes. 3, 4, 5. I'm actually going to use a band. I'm going to show you a cool, neat trick that you might not have heard of, but when you're dealing with, I guess, bunions and things like that, a lot of people think they're just going to put something here and jack this open, and they're like, oh, that's going to make it better, right? But muscles only pull. So even if I hold this open for as long as I want, that's fine. The muscles over here, if you think about it, they might contract a little bit. But unless I'm actively trying to think of controlling the big toe to go out like that, which is really tough, the muscles over here are not, it's not going to do anything. These muscles need to tighten. Whatever comes on this side of the big toe, and then whatever's on the inside of the big toe needs to relax. But what I like to do after doing a couple of those big toe mobility drills where I'm holding the pinky down, come back up a couple times, I take a band and I actually get to go up and out. So up and, let's see if I can do it. It's pretty tough. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. All right. I don't know if you saw that, but this is very simple stuff. Usually I'm hands-on with people, so this is the first time trying to do this on stream. All right, let's do the big toe again. So driving the pinky, all the other toes down, pick the big toe up. 1, 2. If you see, every time I pick up, it wants to pinch in. Kind of tough to see there, but holding these toe downs, try to pick the big toe straight up. 3, 4, 5. I'm probably gonna make them do about 10 reps. Like I said, they're athletes, so they need a little bit more, what is it, tender love and care, TLC. So adding a little tension now. Your big toe isn't very strong. The muscle actually opens up. The toe that way isn't very strong, so you're gonna try to pick up and go out. 1. Even if I don't move, I'm still trying to get my brain to neurologically activate the muscles to pull open against it. All right, that's 3, 4, and 5. Good. All right. Ooh. So that's piano toes really. Next, what you could do is some tails and rails. Now, these guys aren't gonna have blocks or anything, so what I might make them do is take their yoga mats, roll it up so they can drive their toes into it. I'll kind of show you what I mean. My puppy's over here sleeping. I don't know if you can see him. Ugh. So, rolled up mat. You don't need too much of a spot here, just so you can get a stretch. So me, I have pretty immobile feet, but I've been stretching for a while. So I'm hoping this will work. So let me get back in the frame here. Here we go. So as you can tell, I'm just putting just my toes on here. I actually rotated it slightly just because of how the foot is angled. Let's see if I even do it this way. You might be able to see it, guys. Let's see. There we go. So boom, you see how my toe is going this way, or my foot's going this way. It's almost going perpendicular to it. So roll this up a little bit more. Once you start putting some weight on it, kind of good, flattens, right? So I'm gonna drive my toes in. I'm gonna drive them in. This is the pales portion of it. And I'm gonna try to pick all my toes up when I'm down in this position, okay? Normally you do like a 1 minute stretch here first to kind of relax all the muscles underneath the feet, which I'll probably do with them. For you guys, not really needed right now. I'm not an athlete anymore, but I still like to kind of do this stuff. So I'm just gonna drive in. I'm actually forcefully trying to bend my toes like this. I'm trying to do this into the mat, but I'm not doing this, all right? Ankle dorsiflexion and plantar flexion is different than, what are these called? Phalanges are your fingers, but your toes and your big toe, toe flexion and toe extension is different than ankle flexion and ankle dorsiflexion, okay? So when I'm right here, I'm relaxing my ankle. I'm actually putting a little bit of weight and driving my knee over my toes. I'm not going super far out, not going super far out wide. I'm going straight over my middle toe. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take those toes and I'm gonna try to drive them in for 3, 4, 5, and I'm gonna try to extend them out. Now, if you notice when I extend them out, I didn't lean back, all right? You wanna stay leaning forward on this, okay? Drive into it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to pick up, 5, 4. Ooh, I really feel it through here. 3, 2, 1. Drive in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then try to pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Whew. Oh, that's kind of tough. Don't worry, we're gonna do it the other way too. Active mobility is always better than passive mobility. Passive mobility is just an external force moving you into a range of motion that you couldn't move yourself into. You're using an external force, an external load. I'm using my own body. Like right now, if I wanted to, I couldn't pick that's as far as I could pick up my foot. But if I put it down and I put some weight into this knee and go forward, I'm actually forcing my foot into dorsiflexion, which would be passive range of motion. With pails and rails, it's progressive angular isometric loading. Rails is regressive. Regressive means when I'm trying to pull back, and progressive means I'm trying to go forward. What I'm trying to do with these toes is I'm trying to forcefully bend them this way. Since I have them in a passive range of motion, this is now my new range of motion that I'm trying to create, my new active range of motion. Passively, I'm letting my toes relax, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to curl those toes for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to pick them up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're gonna do 3 sets here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Ooh, shake it out. Doesn't feel very good, but that is increasing your active range of motion, because one of the things that I think, or that I see in a lot of non-contact injuries, are people being pushed passively into a range of motion that they can't actively get out of, like a linebacker running into a running back who, when they push him, his knee goes into varus or valgus, and since he's trying to actively get away from him, his muscles contract either to protect the knee joint or to try to actively get away from just the player. That's when ACLs, tendons, all that stuff that's when those kind of snap, which sucks. So, but now we're gonna do the opposite direction. So now this is gonna be a little bit tougher, especially on this hard mat. Oh, make sure you try to find something that's a little bit more comfy than this. So with this, I'm actually going to try to get my toes. You see I can bend them like this. Now me, you probably, if you can get that far, that's great. Me, I'm just gonna relax here. If you can't get that far, just work into a position where you can passively hold it for a few seconds. And now what you're trying to do is, now that initially I was trying to curl my feet this way, now I'm trying to extend my toes. So they're here and I'm trying to go against that motion. So I'm holding them here. I'm gonna try to open my toes up for 5. I'm squeezing my toes, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'm trying to push them out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and again 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and open them up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Wiggle the toes a little bit. So what we're doing is we're introducing our tendons and ligaments to isometric loading. This isometric loading doesn't create muscle damage, which means we're not building muscle back up, but what we are doing is allowing those muscles to stretch and get that neurological effect onto those muscles and tendons and ligaments to hopefully allow them to move into those new ranges of motion. We're not necessarily creating strength here. We're not increasing, we're not causing muscle hypertrophy, I guess is a better way to put it. All right, go ahead and hold it for a few seconds. Now, normally with pails and rails, you're gonna hold this for a minute to let the foot relax, but me, I'm just gonna kind of go through this. You're gonna open the toes up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Squeeze the toes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open them back up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Squeeze the toes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, cool. Now, what we can do here is we can do some inversion, eversion of the ankle. Now that we're done with the toes, it's tough to mobilize the foot through here. Me, I have a very high arch, so that means that I don't have good flexibility through the mid arch right here. This will be our longitudinal arch going from toe to heel. Right through there, I don't really have great mobility. I have very rock solid, like talus, navicular, those muscles or those bones right there. Pretty tough to move for me. It takes a lot of work to try to mobilize those. Oh, so what I actually like to do, what you can do, is you can sit down, put your foot, get something to stand with. I'm gonna actually use a broomstick. These guys tomorrow, they're not gonna be able to use a broomstick. I'm gonna show you how you can do it. So literally, I'm using just a broomstick. What you're gonna do is put your foot in eversion like this and just hold it for a few seconds. And what you're trying to actually do here is, after you hold it for a few seconds, you are trying to cause eversion this way, okay? That direction is the direction you're trying to go, that way. So you're gonna drive into it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then try to go the opposite direction now. So try to pick your foot up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, drive in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, switch feet. I'm gonna go here. Now, if you look at it, it's almost like, wow, that really looks like you're gonna roll your ankle. So what happens is when people roll their ankle, they go into this position here. We have our Golgi tendon organ, which is neurological reflex that goes straight to the spine and straight back. It's a little nerve that embeds itself in the muscle belly, and it protects us from hyperextension, or it's supposed to. But if you roll your ankle here and you don't catch it and you fall on it or anything like that, and your muscle tries to flex and try to save itself from going into hyperextension and tries to go the other way, that's when you can tear muscles and things like that. So doing isometric loading here is just good. It's just a good way to kind of introduce some load to those ligaments. And let's hold it, 5, 3, 2, 1. Try to pick up 5, 4. I'm trying to go in 3, 2, 1. Drive into the ground 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Drive in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Shake it out. Now for those guys, I'm gonna have them try to do seated. I might not even do that for them, just because it'd be really difficult to kind of do that in the small space that we have. And I don't have a bunch of PVC pipes. Oh wait, I actually do have a bunch of PVC pipes I can grab from the gym, and they can use those. Now the next thing, after you do eversion, inversion of pails and rails, what I'm gonna do are some ankle circles. I call them CARs, ankle CARs, controlled articular rotations rather than circles, because I'm actively trying to move my foot in all ranges of motion, both clockwise and counterclockwise. You can use a band or a block. I'm going to show you both. All right. Ooh. Hope you guys like my tunes. Nice chill vibes. What in this on this Tuesday afternoon? I actually got to be at work at around 4. Got to go train at Pinnacle Physical Therapy is where I'm a personal trainer at. So you can do this with a block or with a band. With a block, you're actually going to lay flat on your back, and you're going to squeeze this block between your two tibias here. Now I have them just above my lateral malleoli right here of my tibia, right? Boom, right there. So what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze just right there. You're going to squeeze it, not squeezing 110%. You're going to add some weight to it. Oh, so what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze that without rotating. Now, if you see my toes, I don't want to see your toes wiggling. I want to see your toes flex. Trying to splay your toes as much as you can and give me circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. The other way now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Oh. So now that we did those, the whole point of the block is to isolate this tibia, keep it from internal and external rotation, just working on ankle mobility. My guys, I'm probably going to make them do, let's see, 10 of those. So I got toes. Let me go up to ankle. Ankle, they're just going to do ankle CARs. Now with them, they don't have the ability to do it with the yoga block because they don't have yoga blocks, but they do have a lot of these little small bands. What you're going to do, put the band, similar position, but this time you're going to be pushing out against the band. Now this whole point is to activate muscles at different joints to create an isometric here. Now, when I open up, I'm not creating a lot of tension if I just don't want to keep it relaxed. All right, so now I'm here, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, I wonder if I would have put foot fetish on here or something like that. If more people would have showed up. All right, ankle CARs. We're gonna do banded. I'm gonna make them do 10 of those. 10 each way. Piano toes, I'm gonna make them do 10. Big toe mobility. 10 as well. I'm gonna do piano toes times 2 though. 10 by 2. And then 10 by 2. Good. Ankle CARs. 10 both ways. Clockwise and counterclockwise. So there's a lot of stuff we could do with the ankle. We could do plantar and dorsiflexion, pails and rails. They do a lot of that already just from soccer. You got to think, you know, soccer, when you receive a pass, you pick up your big toe and you receive it. There's an isometric right there. You're locking that ankle out and you're receiving the ball. And that dorsiflexion, even plantar flexion, you're kicking the ball. I don't try to work too much plantar and dorsiflexion with them. It's more about ankle circles, just to, like I said, active recovery, mobilize the joints. So going from the ankle, now we're going to go to the knee. And now the knee is an interesting one. So you have your tibia, which is a load-bearing bone, and then you have your fibula over here, and you have your femur that comes in right here, and your patella. Now the fibula is a non-weight-bearing or non-loading bone. That means that when you jump or move or anything, all the force goes through your tibia. Fibula is there, not for that reason. But we do have some articulations between here that we need to mobilize. It's called the screw hole mechanism of the knee, where your knee actually, when you straighten, it comes straight in line right here. When you unlock that knee, your knee actually externally rotates some, and it comes unlocked. Screw hole mechanism. So now what I like to do is I like to grab just under the knee here, just behind, behind the gastroc, underneath the knee, sitting up nice and tall. What you're gonna do is follow along. This is gonna be a tough one, all right? So you're going to externally rotate while flexing the toes to your nose. So take that tibia. You see I can rotate right here, but my knee isn't moving, right? The goal is to not let the knee move. Even if you need to do this, you can do some of these. So I might have my guys do this first just to understand it. So let's give 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what you notice is I'm not doing inversion, eversion. My ankle isn't moving, my ankle's staying locked, and I'm rotating about my tibia. Let's do 5 on the other side. You can keep your foot down if you like to. 1, 2, rotate as far as you can. 3, 4, 5. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in full range of motion of this knee and tibia articulation. What you're gonna do is externally rotate, open up, internally rotate, come down, keeping that forced internal rotation. You're gonna go out to tap, back in. Now you're gonna reverse it, come all the way up, in, and back down. Now you won't be able to straighten the leg all the way and still get that rotation because of that screw hole mechanism. So don't force it if it's not there. 1, 3, then up and back down. This will be 4. That's 1. And last one. Coming back. 5. Ooh, my feet look dirty as hell. Let's go. Internal rotation, open. External rotation, down. If you notice, I have a little bit more external rotation on this one too. It's 1, 2, 3. This is 2, I mean. Gotta go forward and backwards. 3, 4, and 5. Ooh, I'm getting some tight hip flexors from that. Next mobility thing that we can do on the knees, which is actually pretty nice. I like doing those tibial cars, tibial controlled articular rotations. There's all different kinds of things you can do here. I'm actually going to go up to the hips now. So knee, we're going to do tibial cars. I might have them doing some, actually, let's add that in. Let's just get a nice dorsiflexion stretch. All right. One thing you can do here to mobilize the knee is leaning forward on it and then allowing that knee to mobilize. 1, 2. I'm keeping my feet grounded through my tripod here, my big toe, my pinky toe, and my heel. Opening up, driving that big toe into the ground, letting my ankle do some mobility, and allow my knee go into valgus, come back out, go into varus. Boom, that's a few circles there. We're gonna go the other direction now. Now, if you notice, I'm trying not to let my hip sink this way. I'm just trying to let my knee guide. And I actually am getting some stretching up in my adductors and my hamstring just because of where the muscles origin point and insertion point. But, all right, let's go to the other side. Internal going all the way around. 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna go the other way. 1, 2. I'm almost drawing a circle around where my foot is. 3. Okay. I'm gonna call those knee circles. Knees around foot circles. Try to keep it as simple as possible. So we got tibial cars. I'm gonna do dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, pails and rails with them lightly. Mostly because they do have, some of the guys have turf toe, and we need to get some mobility through that joint, allow the nerve flossing to kind of occur too, to hopefully help with that turf toe, even though turf toe isn't necessarily from the nerve, but that's kind of my ideology behind that. Now we're gonna go into the hips, which is a huge part of anyone's day. So hips, oh, everyone's tightened their hips, right? Let's start off with a nice easy squat though. I'm gonna take my broom again. I'm just gonna use it to help me balance, and I'm just gonna hold this deep squat. I'm actually gonna do it against the wall. Makes it a little bit easier. Oh, so a nice deep squat and hold. Opening up the hips. I'm gonna drive in, open up right here. Oh, relax the back, roll the spine. This is great. I usually, when I'm at work, I try and do this for a few minutes a day if I can. Just sit in this deep squat. Oh, All right, let's go to the hips though. So now a lot of the stuff you see on Instagram and things like that, you probably see people do this movement right here, where they're like, oh, I'm gonna open up, and they just kind of do this. Like, oh yeah, that's nice. It's like, yeah, you can do that a little bit. There's nothing wrong with this, but we're not working active passive range of motion here. We're just kind of opening up the hips slightly, which is all right. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm actually gonna make this a little tougher. So what you're gonna try and do is actually drive this knee into the ground. All right, so you're gonna drive. While you're driving, you're gonna open up this leg, and this leg's gonna try to pull open. So I'm gonna have this counter push and pull here. I'm cramping in the glute a little bit. Hold on a second. All right, drive in here. Maybe drive with 50% force. This side is never gonna win. This side should always win. Flex the toes up, really open up. You can put your hands behind your back, which is fine. Now I'm driving this leg down. This leg's still driving the opposite direction. Open up. That's one. Again. Down and back for 3. This is 2. And 3. Open back up. Oh, all right. Oh, that's a tight one. I got some pretty tight hip flexors right now. So we call those hip push pull. All right, now one thing you're gonna do, we're gonna work our adductors. These soccer guys that I'm working with, adductor injuries are one of the biggest injuries that occur in soccer other than concussions. Non-contact injuries, that is. So driving the foot into the ground, following that pails and rails. Normally, we'd hold this stretch for a minute first. I feel a little bit of stretch in my glutes back here. If you can't get into this position, that's fine. Even sitting like this or like this, and then leaning forward and driving that foot in, if that feels a stretch for you in that glute and that posterior chain, that is fine. What you're gonna do, you're gonna drive into the ground for 3, 2, 1, and then what you're gonna do is you're actually gonna try to pick up from this tibia. So don't think of picking up from here. Don't think of picking up from here. Think of picking up from here. So I'm gonna drive, holding the ground, 3, 2, I'm gonna try to pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and drive, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, last one, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, without even moving in this position, a lot of people forget about internal and external rotation here. We already kind of worked a little bit of external rotation, but here, normally we'd put a block to elevate my foot up a little bit. I'll show you what that looks like actually, because it's gonna be a good stretch for me. So kind of see where my foot is laying today. Put that here. Find that good positioning. Now I can drive into it. So now I'm actively trying to do this motion, but I'm just trying to drive my foot into the ground and not let my knee come up. So once I drive in there for 5 seconds, I'm actively trying to pick my foot up, and I'm gonna try to think of taking my ankle and lifting it straight up without my knee coming up, okay? So let's drive in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drive in, 5, 4. You see there's a little bit of motion through my hip. I actually don't want that, so I really want to keep that isolated. 3, 2, 1. Pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drive in, last one, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. We're gonna switch sides. Oh. Oh, let me get in frame here. I need to mark these things out, make it a lot easier on me. Okay. So remember, taking the tibia, driving into the ground. Oh, that zipper's getting in the way. Let's try it. Okay. Drive into the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to pick up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drive in. 5, 4. And if you can notice, I can lean forward a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Try to pick up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drive in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That was the last one. Now we're going to do this back foot again. So remember, drive in through the ankle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to pick up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drive in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if this is tough position for you, you can lean back. You can come all the way down right here. As long as you keep that knee down and then try this internal rotation, that's going to be the whole point of this, is try to lift the ankle up and back down. All right, let's write that down. Let's see. That's not figure 4. What is that position called? Let's see. Can't spell. I typed in geo. Come on, hip. Similar. It's almost like it's a not lizard pose. Similar to pigeon. Because figure 4 is when you're here, which is what you can kind of do with the same thing with internal external rotation. Since I'm on the subject, sitting like this, letting your chest come up, you're gonna drive the knee open, and then what you can do is actually put your hand here and drive into the knee. Push open, and in. Open, and in. Switch sides. Actually, it's pretty good. Open, and in. Open, and last one. Open, and in. Oh, you can do this in butterfly pose too. You can put weights here. You can drive your elbows in, so you can elbows become the resistance here. Try to open up. So let's try it. So hold it. A few seconds, kind of relax into the position, and you're gonna drive into the elbows and then open up. 2, 1, drive in. 3, 2, 1, open up. And then last one, drive in. 3, 2, 1, and open up. Whoa. All right, that feels pretty good. We don't want to do too much really active like flexion through the hip, because I don't want to get them doing this too much, because they already do that kicking motion, which is going to be yanking on this freaking hip flexor all day. So what we can do though is a nice little stretch where we push the hips forward. I'm not going to be hip thrusting straight at the camera, but putting your arms back like this, driving your hips up into the air, and then relaxing. And hip up. 1, 2, 3. Relax. Again, squeezing the glutes. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Again. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Oh. So that's kind of what I wanted to do with the hip. Could do some more. I mean, I could probably spend an hour doing stuff with the hip. Let's see. Thrusts. We got. Let's see, hip internal and external rotation, tails, rails. All right, so I got those down. I got the hip push pull, hip thrust, so the hip opener back and forth. I have the hip thrust, which is I just did, and the internal external rotation. I'm in that almost pigeon posed, where I'm trying to lift my tibia up and putting it back down. Kind of hit all points of the hip there. Last thing I'm gonna actually show you are hip cars. Now these are a fun one. Get controlled articular rotation again, is that was what CAR stands for. Now with this one, oh, I wish I had a camera above so you could kind of see it. But you're actually going to sit on your side. Oh, relax down, flex the toes up. You're gonna pick the knee up like this. You're actually gonna go into internal rotation. So I'm actually gonna, instead of just bringing my knee up like this, I'm gonna start with my knee tapping the ground. So you see I'm going into internal rotation here. Try not to let your back open up though, okay? So internal rotation, coming up through here, as high as you can, open up, and rotate around, finish, and drive back. Now when I drive back, I'm kicking straight back. I'm not arching my back here, all right? Squeeze the glutes, push the foot like you're trying to stamp it on the wall there. You're going to open straight up now without arching the back, so squeeze your core. Open up, and then try to spin your knee around, and then come back to the finish. That's one. We're gonna do 3 of those. With my team, I'll probably do about 5 to 10. Spin around, and back. Usually you do these a lot slower. I'm trying to save you guys the time. Let's do. All right, let's do 2. I'm gonna show you from the front side now so I can kind of see from where I'm at here. So laying flat, I actually take my fist and I kind of drive them together like this. You're gonna bring your knee, flex that bottom leg, drive the knee up, open up, spin around, and come back. And kick straight back here, open up. Oh, I had a couple cracks there, that feels pretty good. Now cracking and popping in joints is always gonna happen. As long as there's no pain with the popping and cracking, you're good. Oh. What's up, puppy? Come here, Scout. Oh, I got a little bit more time. I just did hips, and now I'm gonna do trunk. You going for a walk? Okay. I'll take you in a little bit, okay, buddy? All right. Oh, here, hold on a sec. Go on out, let's go lay down. Come on, puppy. Whew. All right, girlfriend's going for a walk, which is good. I actually need to go for a walk too here soon. All right, I'm gonna show you a couple more things, and then I'm gonna hop off and actually go for a walk as well. Go lay down, buddy. Go to your bed, I'll take you in a little bit. What we're gonna work on now, I'm gonna have you do some trunk mobility. So we worked on the hips, working all those ranges of motion. Now what we're gonna do is actually go for the trunk. So with this one, I can get a little hot in here finally. So sitting up nice and tall. I know you can't really see my face, but that's fine. So you're actually gonna tuck the chin here. You see that? A little bit. So tuck the chin here. You're gonna round through the spine. Tap the hands, slowly come up and round back. Now you can do this all directions if you want to. The idea is squeeze your core, make sure you're breathing, and only go to where you feel comfortable. Feel a little stretch there, come back up. A little stretch over here. Oh, and come back up. Now you can also do this in like a cat-cow position. So if you're here, I'm gonna start arching like this, chin up. I'm gonna roll through my chin, push the scapula up, roll through the spine, tuck the pelvis, go into an anterior pelvic tilt, roll through extension all the way up, and reverse. All right, good. And the last one, you actually want to start from the tailbone, so you're actually going to post your Atlas. You're in the way. Can you go lay down? So you're actually going to take your pelvis. You're going to tuck it under first. Now, if you notice, I'm still in extension through everywhere else. I tuck the pelvis, and I'm going to roll through all the way up to the chin. Stick the butt out, roll through again. Same thing. You start from the tailbone, roll up, and then stick out, and roll through. Now, these controlled articular rotations, that was called spine segmentation, where you take each individual vertebra and kind of let it do its thing, kind of mobilize through the entire kinetic chain, never thinking of just holding a passive stretch. I actually really want to go on this walk with my girlfriend, and because I haven't gotten any sun today. I technically did this morning, I guess, with the soccer guys, but I was in the gym for the most part, and it was just driving, so I don't really count that as getting sun. But I'm going to hop off. I'll probably be on tomorrow, and I'll see you guys soon.